In a separate case, PM Lee's legal team is seeking damages in a region of $150,000 in the defamation suit against blogger Leong Sze Hian. Mr. Leong's counsel, however, suggested nominal charges of up to $400 instead if the court decides he is liable. Mr. Leong was sued in 2018 for sharing on Facebook an article that alleged that Mr. Lee had helped to launder One Malaysia Development Berhad or 1MDB funds. Deborah Wong has more.
As parties convened in court for closing submissions, they clashed over whether republication of an article in the online space was considered defamatory. Mr. Lee's counsel, Davinder Singh, held that it was, as the meaning behind the post was critical, regardless of the platform the article was shared on. The judge at one point asked if there was a boundary which online users should be wary about, to which Mr. Singh said the outcome would need to consider all the facts of the case. Defense counsel Lim Tien refuted this, saying that Mr. Leong only shared a post without captions and without endorsing it. He said while there is a place for defamation laws, its application must change with the environment. Mr. Lim repeated his point that the proceedings were unnecessary and an abuse of process, pointing out that Mr. Lee was using his position as the Prime Minister to pick on Mr. Leong instead of going after the source of allegations. Now, both sides also disagreed over who held the burden of proof. Mr. Singh argued that it lay with Mr. Leong, who failed to defend himself despite saying he was prepared to take the stand. He added that Mr. Leong had continued to aggravate the libel by drawing attention to the suit, endorsing the very thing he had been sued for. As the allegations were of PM's involvement in 1MDB, a case which Mr. Singh said was associated with serious criminal conduct on a global scale, his team believed that damages of around $150,000 could be reasonable. However, Mr. Lim said the burden of proof lay with the Prime Minister, claiming that he had failed to show substantial evidence that he had suffered damages or was hurt by the allegations. Mr. Lim pointed at how the Prime Minister had consistently sought aggravated damages in defamation suits, and that the decision was a routine move and not a well-thought one. He disagreed that Mr. Leong's post was defamatory and sought for its client to pay nominal damages of $1 or up to $400 if the judge deemed him liable. Mr. Lim says he's pegged the quantum to the potential reach of 400 people that a social media expert said could have seen Mr. Leong's post. The judgment is reserved to a later date.